Yeah.
Okay. Would you, welcome to November 15th Board of Supervisors meeting. Would you all please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all for coming. The first item on the agenda is public comment on agenda items. If you have any, would you please identify yourself and state your name and address? Mr. Feynman?
Paul Fleimer, resident of West Rockhill Township.
Okay.
Can I stand from here and give my comments on, and the issue is the resolution.
That's what I want you to identify the issue.
Okay. The issue is the resolution that was passed unanimously by the Board of Supervisors that would prohibit a mini casino from coming into West Rockhill Township, which you can do under the recent casino bill that was passed by the General Assembly. So
Okay.
I'd like to make comments on that. So do you want me to come?
Would you care to come up here, please? Thanks, Paul. You know, stand right there. You can stand right by that microphone there.
Okay. Well, this was a very courageous act by the supervisors of West Rockhill Township. So I want to commend the bipartisan support, Jim and Jay and Don, for doing this. And you know why you're doing it, but I'll explain to the audience perhaps
That's where you should
and
explain.
clarify. Recently, there was a massive gambling bill passed in the General Assembly and signed into law by the governor. And it creates 10 Category 4 casinos. These are mini casinos that have from 300 slot machines to 750 and 15 table games. Now just think about that. And there's 10 of them. There are 10 Category 1, Category 2 casinos. These are major casinos. 4 have racetracks, 6 do not, but they're all major casinos. They're going to get, the essence is, they're going to get each one of these 10 casinos for $7,500,000, which is a ripoff to the taxpayer. But that's not the reason for this resolution. They're worth $25 to $30 million, but the bill was passed to correct the debt, the $1.8 billion debt that the state has. So this is corporate welfare. However, here's the point that's so important, that in the bill, it says that these mini casinos or Category 4 casinos have to be 15 miles, 25 linear miles from the next casino. So we have Sands up in Bethlehem and we have Parks down in Ben Salem. So this has to be 25 miles distance to put in another casino. However, the townships have until December 31st, 2017 to opt out, to say we don't want a casino in our community. And that's what this resolution is about. It puts it on record to the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board that West Rock Hill in Bucks County does not want a casino, a mini casino, a Category 4 casino. Now you say to me, well, Paul, the law says that they can't put one within 25 miles. Aren't you being a little, isn't everyone overreacting? No, because you can't trust the people that wrote this bill, the lobbyists that came in. These are casino people, they're after money. I just told you how they're going to get, after they get $7.5 million, that's what they're going to pay for it. They're worth 20 to 25 million, maybe even $30 million. I don't have the time to prove it to you, why I give you that figure, but trust me, it is. And I'll tell you why this is a decision that I highly commend this board for doing. Remember I told you that it's a 25-mile distance from the next casino, and they're not to play politics? Well, in the bill, before it even gets dry, if you saw the Philadelphia Inquirer this past Sunday, it said Harrisburg's mystery gift to one casino. Already in the bill, they're making it possible for the casino at Mount Airy in the Poconos to make sure that no other casino gets near them. So they made it more difficult for a mini casino to even get near where they are. They have to be even further back than the 25 miles. Let me put it in black and white. That means that they're protected from a category casino from going in there, which will save them millions and millions of dollars. Already the politics are being played out, and the ink isn't even dry on the bill. So that's why you cannot trust the people who wrote these bills, because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how they could change the law so that West Rockhill, East Rockhill, Richland Township could be subject to one of these casinos. And once they come in, then it's too late. You can yell and shout, do anything you want, but they have the power, they have the ability to move forward. That's why I commend this bipartisan support, and I hope you can support them on this resolution, because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it is the right thing to do. Thank you for your courage, and thank you for your ability to step up to the plate and not to be ashamed or afraid to do what is right for the people, not of West Rockhill Township, but for Bucks County. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, I'll move on to announcements. I will be announcing we will be holding an executive session tonight after the meeting
Yes, for real estate.
for a real estate matter.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment I'd like to make during,
Okay,
so
announcements.
it is something
Okay.
I have to say.
Okay,
I'm going to move down here.
that's fine.
The following statement is my opinion and not the opinion of the board. At the October 18th meeting of the Board of Supervisors, during public comment, a resident discussed her issues with the township related to trash removal, an incident that lasted for 19 days and is fully documented here at the township. In my opinion, a resident has the right to stand up during public comment and say what they want without opposition from the board. I'm willing to hear them out, and I'm willing to allow them to say what they want about me. However, when my family is personally attacked, I will not sit back and take it. I don't believe anyone should have the right to attack the family of anyone sitting in the front of this room, and I find it appalling that it was allowed to go on. In the future, I will make every effort to stop this sort of behavior, and if necessary, I will make every effort to have them removed from the building. Family members should be off limits. Additionally, at the end of the meeting, Mrs. Furlong announced where videos will be posted by her and Mr. Linden. I have viewed the videos in the past. I find them an excellent source for reviewing information. However, this time, Mr. Linden posted a separate video editorializing and politicizing the attack on my family, which I find to be beyond the scope of his past postings.
I did not.
This was a lead. This has led me to concerns of bias, in which I always reviewed to be an unbiased record. And I'm referring to the link that said, "Come here to see Megan."
I didn't put that on there.
That was there. It was on your link.
No, it said,
Anyone wishing to
excuse me,
review the
excuse me,
full
he's making
details
a
of the
comment.
subject, anyone who wishes to review the full details of the subject discussed by Mrs. Banis Clemens and Mr. Stoneback, including emails, photos, and documentation, can do so by contacting the township for a right to know. Thank you. I went to the link.
please review it again.
Okay. Any other announcement under comment towards, regarding the agenda items? Seeing none, I'm going to move on to approval of the minutes for October the 18th, 2017. Have either of you gentlemen have the opportunity to review them? Do you have any corrections or changes or additions?
Read, reviewed, and acted. Move for approval.
Okay.
I second.
We have a motion made for approval and a second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, moving forward here, confirmed appointments tonight. Mr. Shemandera.
Boy, how do you follow this? Good evening. My name is Frank Shimandera. I've been a resident of West Rockhill Township for over 40-some years. I live on a property that has been in my family for over 110 years. I've seen a lot of changes take place in that time, some good and some bad. I have become part of a core group of people that attend these supervisor meetings. There's some of them sitting in the room right now, some of them not here. I don't know whether they've been scared away by what they've heard about what's going on with Thousand Acre Road. Thousand Acre Road residents, I commend you on your behavior on a whole. It has been above board, and you really went into knowing what's going on as far as the quarry goes. The attacks, I agree, on Jim Miller were uncalled for, especially the ones involving his wife. The other attack was made on him that it seemed like we might be taking a bribe from the quarry. That was not Jim's decision. It's a 6-panel group. I sat on that group for 7-8 years. Sellersville has 3 people. Since Jim was accused as the representative of West Rockhill, is that gentleman going to go over and make the same accusation at the Sellersville Borough meetings? Because I'm sure they have accepted gifts from Haynes Kibblehouse. The only thing it seems that was wrong with that was the way it might have been presented. And Jim, I commend you for all the work you do for this township. And I don't believe Jim runs up and down the street on Thousand Acre Road looking to turn people in. And God bless you if you do, because I live on Allentown Road and other people live in the area. We ride around, we see what's wrong in the community, and we report it. That's the only way you have a township like this. You heard from Mr. Clymer about the casino. To me, that came out of left field. I saw the article in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I might have poo-pooed it a little bit. It's not going to happen in West Rockhill Township. But here again, I commend the supervisors. The quarry, to me, is not only a 1,000 Acre Road problem. It's a township problem. And the one thing I'd like to say to the people that are sitting on the board that wrote up the comprehensive plans in the past, some of them still sitting on the boards. There was a lot of time spent on that. And I can say, and there's people that can confirm it, that I was the only resident that sat in that audience till about 10:30, 11 o'clock on a lot of nights. And the only thing I say to you now, don't give in to the quarry. Everything you did in that time and giving up your life, I'm not saying hours, I'm saying your life, to make this township what it is and putting in the regulations. Don't tear it down because the quarry wants to buy or turn a zoning ordinance. They came out yesterday and said they got 16 years of life in the quarry as it is. And guess what? They also said that getting this approval only adds 6 more years. I don't think it's worthy to these people that live on 1,000 Acre Road to give them 6 more years just because they want it. You know, they knew what they got into when they got that land. They were not welcome into this community because there was a long fight to keep the quarry out of here, and it was forced on us. And I can't say whether they've been as good a neighbor as we want it to be, but if I had to drink bottled water because of them, they're not that good of a neighbor. If you've ever been to Odessa, Texas, I was shocked one day. I was out there and I'm riding on a highway in a car. And all of a sudden I see all these brown trucks, UPS trucks, coming out of a warehouse. And I said to the resident there, I says, what are they? Oh, they're UPS trucks taking bottled waters to the houses of Odessa, Texas, because the community they live in is high gas and oil exploration type community. That can happen to us. We almost have a casino that can come in here. Yeah, we're 25, 26 miles away from Bethlehem, maybe a little bit more from Parks. But these things can happen, and I say to you as the supervisors, I hope you don't make these changes just to appease the wants of the quarry. It's time we stand up for the residents, and not only the residents of Thousand Acre Road, but the residents of the whole community. Because what you do today can affect the community for a long, long time. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Next on the agenda under confirmed appointment is Regina Schremeyer.
Regina Schremeyer, Sterners Road.
Could you get under the mic, please?
No, I can stand here, I'm happy.
Yeah, but everybody
I
else
placed
does.
my name on the agenda for this evening because after the meeting last month, I left knowing that the resident presentations included omissions and distortion of facts. I am here not because, as Mrs. Banis Clemens insinuated, I am a Democratic committee woman. She does not know me, yet included me in her Board of Supervisors rant last month. I am not a Democratic or a Republican committee person. I am a resident who is sick and tired of politicians who manipulate and lie to us in a way that is destructive to our democracy. I love word games, board games, I love football games, but the games being played at all levels of government make me sick. That is my motivation, and I just couldn't let pass the omissions and distortions of facts that I heard last month. To this end, I requested all the documents referred to by Mr. Rambo and Mrs. Banis Clemens that they received under the Right to Know regulation. Starting chronologically, I take issue with the incomplete information given regarding the relationship of West Rockhill with Haynes Kibble House quarry operators on Ridge and County Line Road. Mr. Rambo insinuated that West Rockhill supervisors may be basing quarry expansion decisions on in-kind projects completed for them by H&K. I don't know if that's the case. However, I found two omissions in his information. Mr. Rambo cited two in-kind projects completed by H&K for West Rockhill, the paving of a 100-foot stretch of James Park walking path and the paving of the parking lot of the Holiday House pool. What he failed to mention was that there was also a third in-kind service performed by H&K. It was an aerial survey of the M&M Stone Quarry completed for a quarry reclamation analysis. This survey included an aerial drone site survey, detailed engineering design and preparation. There was no mention of this service or its in-kind value, and no member of the Board of Supervisors clarified this for those of us in attendance. I would like to know if this action was approved by all the supervisors. Second, Mr. Rambo failed to mention that West Rockhill Township was one of 22 different local organizations that received in-kind donations from H&K over the 2.5 years from 2015 to through September of 2017. In addition, West Rockhill was one of 140 organizations in 2016 and one of 220 organizations through September of 2017 in southeast Pennsylvania that received some type of monetary or in-kind benefit from H&K. His remarks made it seem that H&K had singled out and targeted West Rockhill with in-kind services. I have no idea what Mr. Rambo's motivation was, but I believe our residents should have all the facts. Next came Mrs. Banis Clemens. I attended her hearing about her toilet/trash issue because I have friends with children in the Pennridge school districts who are concerned about some of her positions on their children's education. And I decided to attend her court hearing to see her in action, and I did. When she recounted her experience at the Board of Supervisors meeting, she misspoke. The judge never said the citation against her was frivolous. At the hearing, she probably spent about 15 to 20 minutes rambling on about her interpretation of what constituted trash can and how she was targeted by this township, specifically Mr. Miller. However, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, she failed to mention that the ordinance also has a clause that reads, "It is unlawful to deposit any refuge or other waste material at roadside collection for more than 24 hours prior to the time prescribed by the collector." She told the judge that her trash, the toilet, was left out on the roadside for 2 trash cycles. Not sure how the neighbors felt about that or how she would have felt if it was on another neighbor's property. When she finished airing her grievances associated with the citation, Judge Baum asked her if she finally understood the law. She said she did, and he let her go without paying the $800 fee. It appeared to me that Greg had more township information he could have shared, but it seemed he didn't get a chance. When I went to the township building for the right to know documents, I asked Greg why this ordinance is enforced through citation. His response made sense. He said that when a resident allows trash to accumulate roadside, it emboldens other residents to behave similarly. He also explained that trash that remains roadside may attract all types of varmints and other animals. When I came to the township building to see the right to know information, I also counted approximately 50 letters that had been sent to the residents of Thousand Acre Road on March 2nd, 2015, including one to the household of Mrs. Banis Clement. That letter put all the houses on Thousand Acre Road on notice of a 2400 trash and refuge ordinance. Considering residents have had this information since 2015, I don't think the folks who serve our township deserve her accusations. It's fine to insist that our Board of Supervisors account for their actions, but when residents decide to make accusations or single out someone specifically, they should have all the facts, not just the ones that present a one-sided picture. I know I'll be requesting more information through the right to know information law in the future, because I now see that political game playing and manipulation have given a one-sided, self-serving picture of the events that have taken place recently. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Trameyer. Next on the agenda is committee reports. First on the agenda is Planning Commission. Mr. Durstein?
Good evening.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit. I'm going to talk about the quarry.
That's what they're here for.
Lighten the mood. I think it will. All right. Planning Commission met last night. Our only applicant was H&K Naysville. They kind of recapped their whole application, and they added 6 conditions to their proposal. First one was one we had talked about before, is a water monitoring system. It's going to test the quality of water at 6 locations semi-annually. Testing would include testing for arsenic, which is the hot button topic right now. So we'll go for 2 years, and then something happens after that.
Did you say semi-annually?
Yeah, twice a year. Twice a year for 2 years. And then I guess it gets reevaluated after that. Second was the addition of a 1,200-gallon pump tank to be available to residents with well issues within their zone of influence or somewhere close to their zone of influence. Anyone with well issues, they'd have a 1,200-gallon pump tank available for them to have water while their system is being repaired. Third was to provide treatment systems for wells exceeding legal limits of arsenic within 1,500 foot of the quarry. You know, the original 1,500 foot in the original agreement. Residents would be responsible for the maintenance of the system. Fourth thing they were proposing is to insulate their crushers as a noise abatement practice. They have already installed the doors that they had talked about on the one crusher. I asked if they had noticed or tested for sound levels, and they said they have not. So we don't know if it helped or not. I don't know if residents would have anything to comment on that. They didn't last night. Number 5 was changing out beepers with strobe lights on their equipment at the quarry. For nighttime operation only, they can use strobe lights on the equipment, I guess mounted on the back of the equipment, so they don't have to run beepers at night, but it would only be in the dark. So during daytime operations, they would still be using the beepers. Number 6 concerns the berm that they're proposing for the area that they want to expand into. Would be built at 15 foot with 2-to-1 slope, 10-foot top width across both parcels. So they have part of this expansion that they want to do is on land that they are already zoned for. Part of it is what they're coming to us for to rezone. On that, the part that's already zoned due to prior agreement, they only need a 10-foot high berm there. So they're proposing to do 15 foot across the whole thing, but our ordinance calls for a 3-to-1 slope. They're proposing a 2-to-1 slope. So that's the 6 things that they offered up in addition to what they'd already talked about. We had a lot of public comment and question. We had a marathon meeting. We adjourned at 10ish, so we had 3 hours last night. The PC decided to table the application for now based upon the fact that the supervisors are considering hiring an independent hydrogeologist. Now, I wanted to mention that H&K had their hydrogeologist here talking primarily about arsenic. He seems to want us to believe that quarrying operation does not affect arsenic in the water. Mrs. Shetter provided some information stating the contrary. So I think it would behoove us to have an independent come out.
I think, Chris, that's one of the reasons why we suggested that last month.
Yes.
For Greg to get some names and prices on that, because we are here to protect the water of the entire township.
I agree.
And that's why it's important to find out what the independent study will reveal. Not from somebody that works for the quarry, but from an independent.
Exactly, yeah.
Hydrogeologist.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yes, go
Can I
ahead.
add a little bit? Yeah, I agree with Jay. I feel like we need a baseline. We need a baseline going forward from this point. We have nothing except, we've got everything from the quarry and we have everything that the citizens have been doing. You've been getting your water tested. Mrs. Scherer has supplied a lot of information. I think if we have an independent hydrogeologist that comes in and gives us a study that we keep on file, who knows what's going to happen 5 years from now or 10 years ago, 10 years from now, no matter what we do, even if we do or don't approve this zoning change, we still need that on file so we can look back and say, this is the way it was in 2017. Right now, we've got nothing really. We've got all this other information we got from the quarry, we've got information from the citizens, like I think. And we also have information from the state that can be thrown in. We've got information from the PAC that did a geological study several years ago. So I think if we get an independent that can take all of this information and put it into a single form, that would give us a baseline. That's my opinion.
I think we need that before we go forward. That's my opinion. And I think it's in the best interest of the people, citizens. So I would be willing to make a motion that we move forward with hiring our.
Don, you let him finish
That is your finish, aren't you?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
not even close.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
All right.
So, based upon your decision, that's going to affect how we move forward
Okay.
with the Naysville. One bit of old business that we had, last month I asked you guys to authorize sending a letter to Rich Hill Associates about their proposed development regarding our traffic concerns. We did do that. I penned a letter. Steve put some big words in it for me. They sent it off Rich Hill, did you go to PennDOT as well?
Went to Richland Township.
Richland Township, PennDOT, and Rich Hill Associates.
Okay. And we have heard nothing back from them. I'd like to hear back from them.
Are they done with the traffic study up there yet? That was supposed to be
I don't think anything's taken
I
place
saw
yet.
I saw cables or something on it, or those
Did you?
boards on the road up there on, I think, here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that study would take a while till they would get that come through. They were going back and forth with Richland and PennDOT as to the scope of the study. And we had given some input on the scope of the study even before the letter that Chris is talking about. But that will be some time before you would see any results of that.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to
I would
approve.
like
yep.
a comment I would like to read if you don't mind, please.
Name and address, please,
Vera
for the
Cole.
record.
Yeah. It's related to the topic at hand. Thank you. My name is Vera Cole, and my husband is Marty Simon. Okay. We live at 2045 Upper Rockydale Road and own a business property at 1506 Old Bethlehem Pike. Many years ago, we chose to trust West Rockhill Township as a safe and responsible place for our home and business. Both have thrived, and we are very grateful for the supervisors and committees who have served the township so well over all these years, present company included. We have never felt the need to weigh in on an issue facing the township as we do now about the quarry's rezoning request. We would like to share some perspective. Since this all began more than a year ago, the quarry has submitted 470 pages of documentation in support of this request, filled with mind-numbing narrative, data, and maps. Yet it was only last month, in response to questions from concerned citizens and the Planning Commission, that the quarry attempted to identify any benefits to the township of approving the zoning change. They present superficial findings based on arbitrary multipliers with little or no tangible relationships to West Rockhill Township. Their documents offer no promise of any real value to the township or its residents for approving this zoning change. What the 470 pages do hold are lengthy and detailed plans for monitoring the wells of township residents for contaminants and poisons, what to do when wells run dry, home arsenic treatment systems, schedules for earth-shaking blasts and explosions, and details of 15 wells contaminated since 2016 alone. It seems to us that the discussion of this request has gone wildly off track. The quarry bought this property knowing that it was zoned residential conservation. The burden of proof to cause a change in our zoning is on them, not us. It's not anywhere near enough for them to say, quote, "Don't worry, if we poison it, we will fix it, and that is why you should approve the zoning change we are asking for." That's their argument in a nutshell. It's because we have plans for what to do when we contaminate, poison, and dry up your wells, you should approve our request. The mountain of documentation provided by the quarry, with its deep pockets and skillful legal team, has worked to divert and distract from what should be a very simple question for us to answer. It's like this. When your teenage son asks to go to a party where there will be underage drinking, does it matter if he tells you that he will fix anything he breaks, that if he gets sick, he will clean it up, that if he's hurt, he will pay for the hospital bills, and that he will play loud music and bother the neighbors, but not after midnight? No. The question is, does he go to the party? And the answer is no. You thank him for his honesty and suggest that he do something else fun instead. It's not about who or how the problems will be fixed. It's about not causing the problems in the first place. Marty and I don't oppose quarries per se and appreciate that they provide necessary products to society, but expanding this quarry into an established residential area would be a known threat to public safety and welfare, especially in an area that's zoned not only residential but residential conservation. So we ask that you not be distracted from the simple question before us: is it in the interest of the residents of West Rockhill Township to change zoning so that quarry operations may expand into a residential conservation area? Clearly, no. Thank you. And I bring that up as a point about hiring the hydrogeologist. I can see where it would be good to have that report on the record, but I don't think it's necessary to support a decision.
I agree.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you for your comment. With that, I am going to put a motion on the floor to move forward with hiring our own independent hydrogeologist to do this independent study.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion's been made, second. All the,
I think you should probably define the scope of the study and talk about which
Could I do cost
hydrogeologist.
guidelines? Greg, can you give me the estimates that you have, numbers that you have?
Well, I've provided the board two, one from Curry Associates and another one from EDN. EDN gave us one for $8,500. And Curry Associates, we didn't get to meet till later in the month, so they did not have a refined one, they just have an hourly rate of 110, but the board could set a price of not to exceed
Which is what we should do.
$5,000
Okay.
if you wanted to go in that direction.
Well, if it costs 8, why don't you know that?
We would ask them to see if they can do it for 5,000. They
Was that a
said-
comment? Could you please give your name and your comment? I don't think that was actually a comment. Was it?
That was directed at the board, I was looking that way. Sorry.
Mary, your recommendation, because the estimate that was given for 8,500, would there be less work done from, if we would say, I know it's a different outfit, it's a different firm, but we're trying to be independent with somebody that has never worked for the quarry?
Right, and now, the two applications, it's hard to find a hydrogeologist that has never done quarry work.
Right.
The hydrogeologist that the staff is recommending doesn't do quarry work, he only works on the municipal side of the table. Because he participated in the PAT hydrogeologic study, because he's done a lot of work in this area for Pennridge Regional Authority and other entities, he's familiar with the groundwater characteristics. And we believe that he could work more efficiently, not having to reinvent the wheel. That's part of the staff recommendation.
Okay.
And that's why he gave an hourly rate, and I think staff is also recommending a cost not to exceed 5,000, but we are hopeful that it will be lower than 5,000.
Okay. All right, well then I will correct my motion to not exceed $5,000.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah, it's fine with me, I second it.
Okay. Yes?
Jay, Anthony Bogan, Climber Avenue. The cost of that, is the township absorbing that, or does that come out of HK's escrow?
No, the township will be absorbing that, and we will be doing that because we are hiring it independently. We are hiring the hydrogeologist independent for our own study, so that the cost will come out of the township.
But it's directly related to the
It is.
application that they have.
It is, but it is related to the township, the citizens of the township. They already hired their own hydrogeologist, we're hiring somebody for us.
Teresa Squardos, 715 Richard Road. I would like Mary to clarify what you mean by not reinventing the wheel.
Well, because because he's familiar with the hydrogeologic characteristics of this area, he has a leg up and doesn't have to spend a lot of time familiarizing himself with other studies since his firm created some of the more definitive
He's not
studies.
depending on data provided by the quarry. He's independently collecting his own data.
He has, and one of the reasons that staff is recommending him is he has already collected a lot of his own data. I think what staff was thinking when it talked to the different hydrogeologic people was that they would review the application and provide comments as one of the possible tasks. Try and address with the township a more satisfactory way of dealing with contaminants or toxins in water than the quarry has proposed at this point. And Greg, what were some of the other things that we were hopeful for in a scope?
Well, we were hopeful that they could attend public meetings and be able to answer people's questions. If they
Yeah.
have questions, we'll be able to do the study and look at different information that's presented by everyone.
There's been a lot of concern expressed both at the Planning Commission and at the supervisor meetings about water quality in that area. And if somebody reviewed all of the documents and refreshed himself on the studies that he's already done, it would be different than us trying to tell you what's going on with your water. And that's why staff recommended this particular gentleman, because we thought that there would be more of a comfort level with the residents because he has never worked for H&K or any other quarry.
could that expertise,
To Greg, Jake.
could that expertise be applied from that, the information from that hydrogeologist, the independent hydrogeologist? Could that expertise be applied and continued on for future zoning issues that we would have in the township?
Not only for future zoning issues, but just for, yes, but also for any future issues the township might have with the quarry going forward. So I think Mr. Miller had mentioned, when we, talked to the board individually about this, that it's a good thing to get as much information as we can. So,
Agreed.
right.
Agreed, thank you.
Can I just say one thing? I'm, just a minute, David, and then you. I want this study so we, like I said, we have a baseline. We can put it in our files. If anything comes up over the next 20 years that this quarry we know is going to be in operation, then we've got a baseline to work from. I don't want this study just to move forward, okay? I think we should direct the planning commission to go ahead and move forward knowing we're going to get this study. I don't want everybody to think this is going to be held up for 6 months while we get a study. I think, like I said, I think we should direct them to move forward. That's my opinion.
We need to study.
We need to study no matter what, but I think we should direct the planning commission to move forward with their plans and make a decision. That's going to be up to them. That's my direction.
David?
David Conley with Barn Road. My question, thank you, Jim. My question was exactly how long will this study take, and when should we expect results?
Yes.
We don't know how long it's gonna take, do we?
No, there's no time.
And because of that, I don't want the rest of these issues to keep hanging out. I think we need to move forward with that.
Can I say, hi, Michelle Shadow, 260,000 Acre Road. As a consultant, $5,000 is cheap. It's real cheap. I would find it very hard to believe that such a study could be conducted that fully addresses all of the issues that I think need to be addressed in such a study. I'm just throwing that out there. I do think that's very inexpensive. I'm not sure what the scope of work was, what the exclusions may have been.
I think the concept may be for the board to have them do an initial review of all the existing documentation, their own studies that they have of the area, the information from H&K, and whatever supplement they have, come back with recommendations potentially for more studies, whether it's their own independent water testing or sample wells or anything, and at that point, the board could reevaluate what those additional costs would be. But as I understood it, the $5,000 is the initial review of all the documentation to get comments on what would be the next stage.
And to that end, those of you who have, already done testing of your wells, if you don't mind, if it's not too much of an invasion, if you could supply the township with that information so the hydrogeologist could include that in his initial study, that would also be helpful.
I believe this gentleman also, this firm, also did the study for the PAC, right? The
Yes.
geological study, which is the Pennridge Area Coordination Committee. They had asked for a complete geological study of the whole Pennridge area several years ago, and he has that on file as a starting point. So he knows more than just West Rockhill, and that's a great place to start. Because like we heard the other night, there's fissures and cracks and everything for 100 miles around that is feeding water into here. So I think it's good to have that level, and then we take your information, we take the information from the quarry also that he's a hydrogeologist, he should know how to read it. I think the facts are going to stay the same, the way they're interpreted may change. All right, that's my opinion. So that's why I want to move forward with the study. But like I said, let's let the planning commission go ahead and do something next month.
I think so too, because you know what, due to the complexity of all the issues in dealing with bedrock and groundwater and aquifer systems and the dynamics involved in it, a study could very well conclude one way, that yes,
Yep.
the quarry is contributing arsenic to our groundwater supply, or no, or it might turn out to be inconclusive. we don't know, you know, what the end result is. But we need to keep in mind, that's not the only reason why we are all here opposed to the quarry. But one thing also to keep in mind is that quarry dewatering activity, and again, you know, the documents from 2016 said that they were dewatering at a rate of 340,000 gallons per day. You know, that's a lot. But the quarry is
What did you say
active.
that was again?
340,000 gallons per day according to the 2016 documentation. That was their dewatering activity of the mine pit. But we have to keep in mind that the quarry it's an actively ongoing operation, and it will continue to go on for many, many years to come. So even though we may have some historic sampling data, you know, we have to keep in mind that impacts may not necessarily show up at this point. Maybe they have, you know, so we have to keep that in mind too. You know, we have to keep in mind that, you know, the future could affect whatever studies we have done right now, but I think it's a great idea to have a base study. I think that's a really good idea. And the other thing is, I think it may be warranted to have everyone's water tested that's in the well protection area. We may even want to consider extending that somewhat. Maybe, you know, we could base that on the results of the preliminary evaluation. But I think, you know, if people have arsenic in the water and they're not having it tested, and it could be attributed to the quarry, I think they need to know that. You know.
And to address you, Vera, I agree that the water study is separate from the zoning ordinance, okay? It's two different things, but we need both. We need to get both of them worked out.
I would agree.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the timing of that. So if the planning commission can move ahead with its decision, will the board wait to make its decision until that report is finished? Have you decided that yet?
I'm not gonna comment on that now, we don't know that yet.
Okay.
We don't know that yet. There was somebody back here? Was there? No? I'm sorry.
There's somebody back there.
Yep, Patrice?
That's Ward at 715 Charlie Road. In regards to having the planning commission move forward, I don't see how they can move forward with incomplete information. That's just operating on wishful thinking.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a couple comments. $5,000 would be consumed within a week or less. I don't know how many have seen the stack of information that's provided, and that does not include all the studies that they supposedly have and would allow. They said they allow this person to review. That stack is that deep, and you can't go through it in a week, I guarantee you. And in a week, it's going to consume $5,000. So I'm inclined to agree with what I heard from Vera, from the standpoint that we have to make a decision. That's not going to be the sole cause for making a decision. The decision is a matter of zoning. And if zoning says it's RC, that property was RC, that property even had a restriction on it, which was moved unbeknownst to the community. And so they're not going to give up until they get an answer. And then they probably not give up. So in addition to what we're talking about, having a water study, I don't know if that's going to be convincing to anybody in terms of the people at HUK.
Don, I think
Because
that's
they're going to counter it. And so we'll wind up in court. And then the money starts rolling.
I don't know how you can assume things yet, but you have the right to do that if you'd like to. I'm merely.
I just told you, I believe what Vera said is correct. I understand the water study, that's not going to impact this. And I don't disagree, it would be nice to have, but what's it going to get for us? We got to make a decision on this thing.
Don, I agree with what you just said, and that's what I said. We need to do both. We need this water study for a baseline for the future, but we also need to move forward with the zoning issue. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to hire our own independent hydrogeologist, not to exceed $5,000 for the initial study. And you have a second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
I'm going to stick with what Vera said.
Are you saying opposed?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, thank you. Moving forward, next on the agenda is Park and Rec. Mr. Strobel. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over one. I skipped over one. Apologize for that.
That's all right.
Comprehensive Plan Committee. Mr. Duvall.
Okay, the comprehensive plan is moving along very well. We now have not only the listing from all the 800 or 900 responses we have, that's now available in print. It's been presented to the township and the committee members. It will be reviewed in chart form, which makes it a lot more easy to understand at our next meeting, fourth Thursday this month. So I would suggest that if you're interested in that, I think you'll find some very interesting directions that the community has provided in terms of their views of what they like to see done with this community. And so I would urge you to come out and watch the drafts and understand. I know Bob presented it to the Park and Rec Committee last week and got some input from them. And so I think you'll find it very interesting. And Bucks County has done a really good job of laying out the charts and plans so that it's pretty easy to understand what this community wants and what they don't want. So other than that, I'd say it's going well.
Okay, good.
And there are some people who come and provide that input, and that's very much appreciated, not unlike this.
Any questions regarding the
No.
comprehensive? No. Okay. Nice. All right, I'll make a motion, we accept Don's report as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I thought I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I second.
All right,
You
all
did
those
say
signify
that.
by saying
Yes,
aye.
you did. Aye.
All right, okay. Now, Mr. Strobel, you're up next, I believe.
Okay. As Don just said at our last Park and Rec meeting, we talked about the survey, and we had some charts that are preliminary. And we were a little surprised about some of the outcome, and I'll give you a little input that what the people in this township want are paths for walking, and they want your taxes to be kept low, and they want the roads to be maintained.
That's number one, roads.
They want that. So we're looking, of course, the Park and Rec to expand our, tot lot, but that doesn't seem to be high on the list, and the people in the township. Though it's on our list for the Park and Rec. So that was part of our discussion, and we had a couple of input here and there, as Don knows. We are looking at our Christmas tree. If you know our Christmas tree out front, we're going to take a look at it. We hear it's looking sick. So has anybody seen our Christmas tree out front? What do you think, David? Is it sick?
Horrible.
Horrible. Oh, it's not sick, it's horrible. Okay. So if anybody knows of a tree that we can transplant in its place for the holiday season, let us know. We haven't made a final move on that Christmas tree yet, but we'll take a look at it and see what it's coming up for the holiday season. The Park and Rec, though, will not have a meeting next month. Next month is December time, and it's time that we don't have a meeting, and we kind of have our own little gathering. Otherwise, we had a kind of a calm meeting, right, Suzanne? Nothing major came up, and we can get this issues resolved on the Christmas tree. It'll be good. It'll be number one. Trying to think what else. Nothing major. Had a nice meeting.
The garden was converted to its permanent mode with all the new perennials. They put in 60 perennials.
Compassionate Gardens in the park.
They put in 300 bulbs for the spring, and they put in, I forget, about 100 daylilies. So it's going to be a beautiful, bright yellow garden come springtime. So I'm really happy. And I think some people are still over there frozen to the cement from the Saturday when they did that. But a lot of the greens now kind of blend in with the bottom, so it looks kind of drab for the winter, but we'll get over it.
I mean, there's been a lot of people looking at that as they walk in the path. And it's really turned into be a project that most people can really appreciate. It hasn't cost taxpayers anything, and these people are working hard to keep it clean and neat.
tremendous amount of effort there put in that, and I've got a lot of
Yes, they
comments, a lot of compliments
Yeah.
from citizens.
And I think one of our future projects for the park, we were talking about putting in a library in that area. One of these libraries, that's a free library where people can bring books. You can read a book. You can go over to the Compassion Garden, sit, talk with your neighbors, have a little time of your own, and then take the books back, and other people bring books. So that's one of our future projects. We're hoping to maybe get somebody to help us with that. Be good, we think. That's what I have. Anything else you can?
I want to make some comment on the top lot, because this thing hasn't gone anywhere, and we've all, from the Park and Rec's point of view, have tried hard to generate and create money.
Yeah.
And we haven't been successful. We've gotten a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. I guess it's been 3 or 4 years now, I've tried to get the board to move on spending the money to get this done. Originally, we had a study, it was around $25,000, am I correct, Suzanne?
Right.
That was 3 or 4 years ago. About 3 years ago, I asked the board to take the money from the Ruth James Trust Fund that we get every year, and I was denied. I am suggesting now, last year I asked the board to give me an idea or ideas of how to pay for this, so that we can get this finished. We already took out the bushes and stuff between the tot lot and the walking trail when we did the Compassion Friends Garden. I believe we continue to ignore this and not get it accomplished, and I would like to accomplish it, even if we have to spend the money out of our reserves. So I'm asking, by next month, we decide or think about how to pay or what to do to get the tot lot finished.
It's been a project that we've talked about for many years with the Park and Rec. But then, as we stated, we had the survey, and the survey's not giving us a real kick, saying that's what you want, So what do you think, folks?
Bob, it's been a project that's been going on though. We've started the project before the survey was ever put.
True.
I mean, you don't rip out something and start something and then just stop without finishing or coming to it.
Yeah, I just want to spend some time, like you said, over the next 30 days, looking at the
That's a month.
James Trust and seeing how much money we have in there and how we can work on it. So
Okay.
I'll be ready next month.
Give some input.
It says everybody carefully look over the survey that was done to have a full understanding of what the community wants.
Right.
Yep.
Understood. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's what I have for the Park and Rec.
I'll entertain a motion for approval for Bob's report as presented.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you, Bob. All right, next on the agenda is the Conservation Committee.
The Conservation Committee meets tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I also have one thing to talk about tonight, an executive session about land purchase.
Okay.
About what?
Land purchase.
Next is the commission reports, police report. Chief Rod Blake, how are you today?
Good, thanks.
Hello, Chief.
How are you?
Hey, Ron. Like that beer.
Look good, right?
Yeah, I don't like it. No Shave November, that's why there's a
Is that
beer.
having
Yeah.
season?
That's Mother's
No.
Day.
By the way, let me add to that. I mean, you can go out on their website and make a donation to one of the officers, in one of the officers' names for No Shave November. So please go out there and support your police.
Greg is doing no shave.
Yeah, look at that.
You did no shave last year.
I did last year, but I couldn't stand it either.
I don't like
I can
it.
still make a donation. I'm
You
just
can.
not going through that again.
This is the Pennridge Regional Police Department report listing the activity for the Pennridge Regional Police Department for October 2017. The officers responded to 370 calls of service. Of those, 131 were in East Rockhill, 239 were in West Rockhill. The department handled 37 traffic crashes, 21 in East Rockhill and 16 in West Rockhill. 15 were reportable and 22 were non-reportable. The department investigated 44 crimes, 4 Part 1 crimes and 40 Part 2 crimes. Part 1 crimes are known as the index crimes, which are the most serious crimes in West Rockhill. The crimes are as follows: sex offense, open lewdness, fraud, contempt of court PFA violation, 1 theft of under $50, a harassment case, 2 cases of criminal mischief, 1 disorderly conduct, 8 dog law violations, 1 ordinance violation, 1 possession of heroin. In East Rockhill, 1 theft of between 50 and 200, 1 theft of under 50, 4 fraud cases, 3 criminal mischief cases, 1 sex offense against a minor, 3 DUI cases, 1 possession of marijuana, 2 disorderly conducts, 4 harassment, 1 terroristic threats, 1 underage drinking, 2 dog law violation, and 2 ordinance violations. The criminal charges are as follows for October: 2 criminal mischief, 4 theft cases, 2 receiving stolen property, 4 DUIs, 1 possession of drug paraphernalia, 1 possession of methamphetamines, 1 disorderly conduct. I'd just like to note, like you might see, we had 3 DUI cases and we have 4 DUI arrests. These reports kind of run in a, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to it, so we might be reporting on these DUIs in October, but because of where they fall in the month, we're waiting for lab results or further investigation. Those arrests might not occur for several months later. So that's why you see these skewed numbers like that. Officers conducted 263 traffic enforcement details, 25 on Old Bethlehem Pike, issuing 26 verbal traffic warnings, 52 citations, 56 written warnings, and officers also conducted 315 business checks. We had a meeting with the Homeowners Association in Wellington Way in West Rockhill Township, and we had our drug take back in October. The totals for Bucks County were 10,125.82 pounds. That's just under 50,000 pounds of drugs collected since 2010. So Bucks County leads the state, above Philadelphia, above Montgomery, in that. Our totals for that day were 43.38 pounds. We had 2 sites at Grandview Hospital and the station. There's the totals there: 19.58 at Grandview and 23.8 at at our station, PRPD. And our drop box totals, which is there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, or if you need an officer on the weekend, you can call the officer back. Those drop box totals, we had 125.86 pounds, just in the drop box alone. That's the report. There's just something to add. I don't know who I talked to last month about the traffic condition out here on Ridge Road. So I did kind of pull some numbers here. We put our speed board up there. Those numbers are good, but people slow down when they see a blinking light, and it tells them how fast they're going. But anyway, I pulled some crash data since the paving was completed, and that was roughly about August 10th. I pulled that data to October 25th. Some of the numbers geek, batting averages, on base percentage, and traffic crash data. In 2016, in that time period, between Lawn Avenue and County Line Road, we had 10 crashes. Same with 2017, we had 10 crashes. In 2016, 7 were reportable, 3 were non-reportable, and the cause of those crashes: 2 were careless driving, 1 DUI, 2 animal ran into a vehicle, some assuming they were deer, 1 distracted driver, and 4 other. I pulled some of those other stats, and a lot of those other crash data stats in 2016 occurred at the light at Lawn and Ridge, turning violations. 2017, 6 reportable, 4 non-reportable, 5 for careless, which has increased since 2016. A couple more cases. So that could be, because it's paved, freshly paved. 1 DUI, 1 animal, 2 distracted, so that's 1 more, and then 1 other. So they both total 10, but the careless driving is increased. So that could tell me that because of the paving, it's increased speed. The traffic data for that, the average speed going southbound was 44.77, and the average speed going northbound was 44.52. However, in that 7-day period, we had a maximum speed of 79 going one way, we had a maximum speed of 75 going the other way, so that's really fast. But there's not like a time period where, hey, you're going to get all these vehicles.
Sorry.
Is that you? It's Mary. In both northbound traffic and southbound traffic in that 7-day period, northbound you had about 20,000 vehicles, and southbound you had about 19,000 vehicles.
So, and the 85th percentile, 85% of those vehicles are traveling 51 miles an hour, southbound and also northbound, 51.46.
What was your slowest speed? I was behind that car.
I did see the slowest speed was 7 miles an hour. Was that you?
No, I was behind you.
But they do work as a deterrent. People are speeding and they see the flashing light and they slow down. So really, is the data correct? We would probably need our JMR strips there so people don't see, that you're taking a speed survey to really get an accurate account. But still doesn't negate the fact that we're gonna, see some increased enforcement there. So I don't know if that helps you. I think it was you that we had talked about that.
I was the one that asked about.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry.
Additional crashes.
Yeah.
Because it, just from Kathy Gearhart, 218,000 acre road. But I've noticed more recently of cars, tire marks.
Yeah,
off
we
the
had talked
sides.
about that, all like off the side of the road, right?
And just this past Sunday, there was a telephone pole taken out.
Okay, right.
So we had lost our power for a good 3-4 hours because of someone carelessly driving.
Careless, right.
On the bridge, not on our road, on the bridge.
All right, anything else, Chief?
I'll just get in touch with Judy. Judy, I think you should share a copy of the information on the survey. There are quite a few comments in there regarding the regional police, so that they're aware of that.
Good or bad, Don?
Good.
I'll talk to you later.
I have a question.
They're all good.
Yeah.
Has the law about using your turn signals been rescinded or changed or modified so that you only turn it on when you turn?
I've not heard that.
Okay.
Just a question.
Mr. Fox, can you
Yeah,
identify your name?
I'm sorry. Dennis Fox, Bardsley Road. The traffic lights on Lawn Avenue coming off of the bypass.
Oh my God, you wait forever, right?
Yes.
PennDOT issue.
Who controls them?
PennDOT.
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 Be very careful of that light, because
Yeah.
you might think that, it's a green light for me, when really it's a traffic light pattern for another exit
Yes.
lane there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense. You really have to pay attention.
If I'm coming north on the 309 and I get off at Lawn Avenue and I see that the light has just changed red for me, I will go right and go in through the filling station, make a U-turn.
Get gas, and then...
You almost could, but I'll go back through that light, through the next traffic light, even if that next traffic light is red. I'll go through that to the traffic light on the Ridge Road and make a left, and I can look in my mirror and still see that that light has not changed. I mean, it is
It's
terrible.
like a 2-minute cycle. or
Oh, my
something.
word. No.
Yeah, it's a PennDOT issue, but it coincides with the light there at Ridge and Lawn.
Okay. But I mean,
It's
But
supposed
it
to
doesn't.
be.
Sometimes you wait for 2 minutes for that light to turn green so you can make a left onto Lawn, and then you hit the light at Ridge red.
Yes.
And then it's like,
Anyone can call PennDOT, 215-345-6060.
yeah, but
Waste your time. Thanks for giving away our secret of how we.
The other question is, I believe there's a new law, and correct me if I'm wrong, that says if you think you waited too long for a red light, you may proceed through that red light.
Yeah, I think it's more specific whether you believe that the light is malfunctioning.
Oh, I could think that every time I go through that.
But I'll guarantee you this.
You're gonna give me a ticket.
No, I won't. I just push papers around all day. No, if that happens, and I think that law was generated by someone out in the western part of the state, specifically for motorcycles coming up to a light where those lights that are tripped by that wire, activated by that, and that wasn't happening, so that law passed. But if you do proceed and you're involved in a crash, and let's say, the light was malfunctioning, but you proceed from one traffic lane into another, that crash would be your fault. So just be very careful of that.
Okay, so the police department does not care if we make a U-turn there?
Oh, the police department cares if you make a U-turn. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can't make a U-turn at you know, close to an intersection, and you're making a U-turn close to Almont Road, and you're making a U-turn close to that off-ramp. When do you usually make those U-turns?
Through the gas station.
Yeah.
That's different, that's not a U-turn. Absolutely not.
That's trespassing.
Yes, it is.
Mrs. Marks?
I have a question. Linda Marks, 710 Thousand Acre Road. With the repaving of the bridge, has the police department taken particular notice to how much faster the empty dump trucks are coming out the Ridge Road?
We have not.
I leave work, I mean, I noticed it before because there was that particular bump coming this way across from Ware's house at Gold Mine Road, that everybody kind of slowed down for, but now it's nice and smooth. So I leave my house about 7 o'clock, coming onto the ridge to come out to work. And these trucks, because they're empty, are flying out the ridge.
Towards the county line.
Because they're empty.
Okay.
I don't see them necessarily coming the other way because of the time I'm coming home. But yes, definitely in the morning. I was coming home the other day, saw a guy with a dump truck coming this way, towing something on the back, on his cell phone. And I was sitting at the top of Washington Avenue waiting to come out, and he was flying out the road. So I just didn't know if anybody had suggested to maybe keep an increased eye, maybe park in the driveway at the natural farm, at Whitey's old farm, and just see how fast they're coming out to the quarry in the morning. Because
Wouldn't you say, what farm was that?
At the top of Thousand Acre Road.
Oh, Licky's farm.
Licky's old
Okay,
farm.
right,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Even better.
So, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but I have certainly noticed it since the ridge is repaved, that they are flying.
Even better is the driveway just past Thousand Acre Road. On the right-hand side, there's a trailer back in the woods back there. That's a blind
Right
driveway.
across from that farm.
Yeah, but you
Just a
pull in
little-
there, they're not gonna see, they're not gonna have a chance to hit the brakes there. Because you're gonna be
Can't
right
put
on
that
it.
out on video now, everybody will know.
I'll believe it. But we're the ones.
Oh, I have a question for you. I don't know, it was about 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, Michelle Shetter, 260 Thousand Acre Road. Maybe like 2 weeks ago or something. My husband and I were sitting at light and,
This light at Ridge and
yeah,
Lawn.
and there was a truck in front of us, the light turns and we start to go, and this truck speeds up, and it was obvious that he is speeding. So I turned my cell phone camera on, and I videotaped him, the whole drive from like Lawn Avenue, past this township building, we get off the Thousand Acre Road. And so I'm videotaping him, I'm videotaping his odometer, and I got his license plate, and I had half a mind that the next time I swung, drove by the township, the police building to stop in and show you the video. Like, could I submit that and have you, could you like give that driver a fine?
Sometimes, I mean, it's more so the contact that we have, you know? I mean, if it was egregious, like you saw him force someone off the road, you know,
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. It was just
then we
speeding.
would.
I'm just so sick of these trucks speeding on these roads. It's
But,
so
you know,
dangerous.
the argument would be, okay, you're traveling this, is your speedometer certified? You know what I mean? That would be a defense argument, you know, if we would issue that type of a ticket. But it's good to know, because we do make contact with people. Even if it's anonymous, hey, I saw this person speeding or driving reckless, and you give a tag, we'll make contact, but it's good to have a name, like, hey, you know, this is what happened. And sometimes, I mean, I've had cases where similar type incident where someone was kind of forced off the road, no traffic crash, but someone was driving reckless, ran the tag, out-of-state tag from Ohio. They tracked the person down. He's wanted in Jersey for an armed robbery. So, you know, that little case there of just a traffic violation on 309 turned into a big case where they extradited the person. So, I mean, you just never know. Information is golden to us, you know, that's what we do, we collect information.
Right, the issue they're talking about, you gotta look at the number of trucks. If you take Naysville's numbers, you ship 750,000 tons out of there every year. And if the 10-ton loads on those trucks, some are 20, That's 75,000 trucks come in and out of that quarry
Yeah.
a year. And that's what we're faced with, people are faced with, residents of these trucks on the roadway.
And you know, during the reclamation process, those trucks are coming in, weighted, with fill, they're unweighted. So it's even more wear and tear on the roads.
I mean, we do conduct our mix-up details, and we usually, West Rockhill Township Building is one of those spots where we do our details, where we weigh trucks and things like that, so.
They, what's explained to us when, in our, I think, one of the tours I went to, they don't allow the trucks to go out of the quarry overweight.
Okay.
Right, but coming in, they
Yeah, I
can't
don't know.
weigh,
You
because
know,
it's not, they can't help it.
Tony can verify that, they won't let you go off the scale.
Yeah, they won't.
You can't go out the gate.
They're certified scale masters, no way.
Okay. We usually get our overweights from like a bridge restriction,
Yep.
restricted weight type thing.
Covers is another issue.
Yeah, that's a violation, right?
Big issue.
Carol Strobel with Rockhill Road. I'm not sure if the Allentown Road is in the,
It is.
well, where the bridges are, the one-lane bridges, especially the one below the church, closer to Rockhill. It seems like there's, coming from that side, there's always a lot of traffic, and then, you'll sit there and you'll think you're next, and then somebody else comes right through, and if you start up, you have to stop or back up or something. I don't know if there's
I think there's a yield sign there.
there's a yield sign on one side, but it just seems like people don't yield.
Right.
I don't know what else.
Ron, along that same line, I've had people ask me, would it make more sense to let two people go through at once? Because then,
People are
you don't
impatient.
have that break, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of cuts that wait time in half for at least.
You could, but there's no way to enforce that.
I know, there's no way to enforce the one at a time either.
Right, no, there's not.
I'm just trying to think of ways.
It happens there and it happens at the bridge on Butter Creek.
We get lines that are a quarter mile long back
Oh, yeah.
there sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just think if there's
It's almost
another
all the way
way
to Thousand Acre Road.
could get people to work together through that intersection, it might help people get home sooner
Yeah.
at night. All right. Sign, it says 2 at a time.
You done, Ron?
Donna, do you have any more questions?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the chief's report as presented. So moved by Don.
Second.
Second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
My board meeting was last night.
I was being facetious about that question.
All right.
I don't
Next
think
on the
people
agenda
use their
is
turn signals
Joint Rec
tonight.
Commission. Mr. Miller.
That is.
Okay,
That's,
I have been for the last year just giving you all these updates and everything and trying to let you know everything that's going on. So I just wanted to do a recap tonight. There's really nothing financially that I need to talk about. Just as a recap, as I reported over the winter last year and over the beginning of the fall and then, the spring and the beginning of summer, we redid the snack bar, we did the mural, we had the bathrooms redone, we had the parking lot done. And by the way, the parking lot now, we use it 4 months of the year. The elementary school, West Rockhill Elementary School, uses it the other 8 months of the year. They had 3 events in October. They had their fall festival. They had 2 days where they had Donuts with Dad. That was filled. I was shocked to see how many cars they have, but they just don't have room in their own parking lot with the buses and everything. So it's a good community service to have that. I asked Suzanne to try and get our community service folks in now that the leaves are pretty much all down to come in there and clean out the parking lot and also clean out the pool that's starting to fill up with leaves because it's empty. So that's a good activity we can get going. Over the summer, we had 2 flick and floats. We had 2 customer appreciation days that were put on by Cool Eats. They had a DJ there, they had the big bouncy things there, and I think everybody had a really good time. We had the Bucks County Library come in for a pop-up event. We had a Meet Your Police Day. Rod already left, I was going to thank him. And we had a Girl Scout camp out, which I think they had a really good time. They camped outside of the fence, and then they had Cool Eats was open in the morning for them to come in, and they each were able to get breakfast. So that was really good. What are we working on right now? We've approved and we are starting to get in all the equipment now. We're converting all the lighting to LED. The parking lots all around the pool and the building interiors, we expect to save about $1,500 a year just in maintenance, but we also are going to save a lot in, I'm sorry, that's $1,500 a year plus maintenance, which, you know, a lot of these lights are up high, so you need to bring a high lift truck in and on. And this is really going to save a lot more than just that. Plus, these lights don't burn out. I mean, you might get 10 or 20 years out of these lights, so it's going to save us a lot in replacement of lights. So that's going to be a really good savings for us. We have a new sound system. All the speakers arrived, all the wiring arrived. So the same person that's going to put in the lighting while he's up on the pole, he's going to put in our new sound system. There's going to be six speakers around the pool, one over the snack bar and one over the entranceway. They're all about 130-degree directional speakers, so they will focus just on the pool area, and there'll be no noise to any of our neighbors on the outside, so we're hoping that all those phone calls are going to stop. At the beginning of before the season last year, we replaced all the wood on all the benches, and then Suzanne and her crew from the community service came in and they stained all the benches in the fall once the pool closed, so they look beautiful right now. And we also had Bob Strobel took two of the benches that were like 40 years old. They were these really nice old antique benches that one sat outside the guard's shack and the other one outside the medical building. And Bob took them and he had them, he stripped off all the old wood. He sent them out to be sandblasted, and now he's putting them back together with beautiful stains. Is it oak? I'm not sure what it is.
No.
It's just I could ask, right? Yeah. The shade sails are now up. Suzanne and my wife Ada and I did all the measurements, and we got everything ready. We've got the hardware, we've got the bolts in, so they're ready to go. And we still have a long to-do list. So that's where we are with that. Now, other items. We have a membership committee now. Wendy's not here tonight, but Wendy Bradley's running that. And she has, I think, 5 members from the elementary school, 5 mothers from the elementary school that are going to help with the membership committee. I went to the Borough Council meeting in Sellersville Monday night and asked them if they had some folks they would like to get in. I want this to be a joint effort because it is a joint committee. All right, so that's going on. And I also want to say that for the last 3 months, and I've been looking into having a fairly large event in the big grounds. We probably have, 10 or 12 acres over there, I think, that is outside the fence line. So I went to the Wines on a Hill event in Hilltown this year, and it was fabulous. People paid $20 to get in, and wine tastings. They had probably 100 vendors in there. They had music and food and all kinds of stuff. So I'm looking to do something like that over there. And I talked to the PAC committee about this. That's the Pennridge Area Coordination Committee. That is all of the Pennridge area. They were really up for it. I've spoken to people in Sellersville, Bedminster. I went to the Fall Festival, the Gallery Yards. Everyone thinks this is a fabulous idea. So it's probably going to be about 18 months out. I met with, Wendy Bradley and I met with Linda Reed, who's the event planner for Percy, and she plans all their big events. So she actually sat down with us and went through what to do and how to get started and what committees we need and what forms and how to do a press release and all that stuff. And she's got a lot of information she's going to give us, and she's also offered to help if there's anything specific we want her to do. So if there's anybody out there that would like to work on something like that, we would be more than happy to have you come in and help us. I think it's a great thing for the community, and I think it's for the whole Pennridge community, not just West Rockhill. It's awareness to the pool. We may make some money we can give to the police department or to the fire department or somewhere, right? I want this to be an event like that, okay? So anyhow, that's where we are, okay? That's what we've been doing, and that's what we plan on doing. So we've got a busy year coming up. And I have one more thing. We still have an open seat on the board for the Joint Rec Authority, and Suzanne Clark has applied for that, and I would like to see her on there. So
Before she gets away, as long as she still has her request in, I would like to move forward, and I'd like to make a motion that we do appoint her to that committee. Mr. DeVol, you have any comment regarding that?
No, she's already had it, put it in.
Okay.
All right.
Motion's been made. Second? Second it. All those signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. That's all I, oh, Frank has a question.
Yes, Frank?
Frank Schilling there at 1030 Allentown Road. Have you received any anonymous gifts or gifts of any kind?
The only two we received, the one anonymous gift was the paving of the parking lot, but that did not stay anonymous. And the second one was from a gentleman who gave us $5,000 for redoing the bathrooms, and his has remained anonymous.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
All right. I'll make a motion that we accept Jim's report as presented. Second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Okay, moving along. Next on the agenda is the tax collector's report. Suzanne?
Okay, mine is short and sweet. For the month of November, I've only collected $119.31 in annual taxes and $20.61 in interim taxes for 2017. I did want to let you know that all final notices have been sent out for school, county, and township taxes for the year, so we're wrapping up again.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Suzanne?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
Motion has been made, second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next on the agenda is the engineer's report.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two small items. If you recall the Wood Spring Meadows subdivision, Garris's townhouse development, we had held back $5,000 in the spring for a few landscape items that he had to complete because it was early spring and he couldn't do it. He has since completed those items. We have a letter in your packet recommending that you make motion to find the project complete and release his remaining escrow funds.
Any questions regarding that matter from the board? Okay, motion's been made by Don.
Second.
Second by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You have that.
Okay, you have your plan review status in the packet. There's no projects to require action tonight. And lastly, you also have 3 escrow release authorizations, 2 for Rockhill Contractor Services. Was it one in the amount of $5,794 and change, and the other in the amount of $4,731 and change. And then also A&T Subaru has an escrow release request, the amount of $51,025.50.
Has everything been satisfied down there for A&T Subaru? That was the place on the hill on the right?
Right, they have some minor punch list items outstanding. We still have, even with this release, there'll still be $62,000 in escrow.
Would it be fair to do the release or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very minor issues that they have left.
Did you find out what they're gonna do with that embankment yet?
They replanted it. We're seeing if it,
Or was it just done by May?
well, they overseeded it.
So the
field be behind the school. So those 3 upper fields we have a permit for.
Okay.
That's good for another 2 or 3 years that could actually be renewed. So at any point, as you said, if we got a donation or a contractor that wanted to work with us, we could still do those upper fields under the permits we already have.
Because I know we've had interest from the Little League, and I was thinking about other leagues around that may want to still use that.
Right.
And we have talked in the past about using the building for sports complex headquarters, or the Historical Society using it.
And we don't have a full plan for complete parking areas and
Yeah.
actual, backstops and improvements on the park. There's a sketch plan out there
Yeah.
of what the permit we have is just to grade other field areas.
Right, okay, great. Okay, thank you.
All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the engineer's report. Motion's been made.
Second.
Second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next on the agenda is the solicitor report. Mary, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good.
The first item, I think that's the first thing it's the first thing in my file, is the Fedegari development agreements. You remember this was on Bethlehem Pike?
Yep.
And they've signed all their development agreements. So I have for you a request for authorization to sign the reserve parking agreement, the memorandum of development agreement, the holding tank agreement, and the stormwater management agreement. the holding tank agreement and the reserve parking agreement were special things required as part of the approval. The other three documents are documents you do for every subdivision in the end of their
Okay. All right, any questions for that or concerns regarding that matter?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion made. Second by Don, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's a big pile, so I'm gonna pass them down so you can get, oh, they're all for Joe.
That's fine.
Okay, the next item on the solicitor's report is, a resolution that, Mr. Clymer alluded to in the beginning of the meeting regarding opting out of the mini casino, hosting job. I think Mr. Clymer provided as much information as you could possibly provide. The only one thing that I would add to this is that although you cannot have a mini casino within 25 miles of an existing casino, and we are within 25 miles of parks, but not of sands, but not of parks. We're further than 25 miles from parks. There's an exception to that, and if you own the casino that's within 25 miles, that casino could put a mini casino within 25 miles. So the staff is recommending this resolution, which would be resolution number 20-17. And in essence, it reads, the Board of Supervisors of West Rockhill Township adopts this resolution in accordance with, and then it says the section number, to prohibit the place and operation of a Category 4 licensed facility within the boundaries of West Rockhill Township. So it's up to you what you want to do with that.
So moved.
Well, we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Second, all those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you.
Right, now, pass that down. Then I have one more item that is not on the, that's not on the solicitor's report, because I just thought of it today. But we're going to settlement soon, and hopefully it'll be the week after Thanksgiving with Sellersville to buy the Catch Basin Road property. And we need to, for the title company, we'll need a resolution authorizing Jay and Greg to sign any necessary documents.
So you need us to authorize you to do that?
No, I need you to authorize Resolution 2017
Okay.
So moved.
-18, authorizing the chairman of the board, the township manager, and/or the township solicitor to attend settlement and execute any documents necessary to complete the purchase of the properties.
Okay, we have a motion put on the floor by Don.
Second.
Second by Jim. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, this came up in Sellersville being Monday night, so they've got it on their mind too.
Yeah, and then I've been talking with their solicitor this week probably 4 times, so we're working toward it. And then, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have to.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the solicitor's report as presented. Motion's been made, I'll second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Hang on, Jim. These go, okay.
We can start on this.
All right, the next on the agenda, if you're moving along, is the township manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is the emergency services report. I'll go over the emergency services report for October 2017. Sellersville had 28 calls, 12 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Sellersville Route 309, 7 calls, 6 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Telford had 33 calls, 5 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Telford 309 had 3 calls, 3 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Tylersport had 27 calls, 2 of which were in West Rockhill Township. And Trumbullsville had 48 calls, 5 of which were in West Rockhill Township. Any questions?
I have none.
The next item is the building and zoning report for the month of October 2017. We brought in $6,708.75, bringing the grand total to $69,717.80. Any questions?
I have
No.
You also have a list of the permits.
Any questions on it?
I have none.
All right, the next item is the treasurer's report ending October 31st, 2017. The general fund, $474,554.95. Highway aid, $118, $688.42. The open space fund, $1,794,564.76. Park fund, $11,793.75. The equipment fund, $18,926.60. Highway capital, $124.55. Street light, $33,083.59. And the reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $303,355.92. The open space manager field, $50,654.88. Sewage maintenance, $166,620.50. Stormwater fund, $5,572.89. The escrow funds, $558,341.28. Also, the open space Durstein, $24,238.29. You also have a copy in the list of the bills.
Any questions for Greg regarding the bills and the list?
I have a question for approval.
Don's?
All subject to it.
Yep, okay, we have a motion put on the floor.
I second.
Approval. Okay, second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, Public Works report. I'll go over the maintenance performed on township roads. Armo Forest and Lawn, Green Top and 1,000 Acre, Patch Meeting House, Climber, Pothole and Forest, blew out ditches on 1,000 Acre, Upper and Lower Rockydale, Twin Lows, Butter Creek, Shoecraft, Gold Mine, North Tower, the intersections of Ridge Hill and Route 309, Camp Rockhill Road and Allentown Road. They helped pave with East Rockhill Township. The Key Cut Shady Lane for overlay and crack seal catch basin, ditch work on Quarry Road and Meeting House, cleaned the downed tree on Mountain View Road, Kafler Road, and Forest Road. Replaced 2 signs of Bart and Simmons, a sign on Warren Avenue, replaced the stop sign at Jesmond and Lonely, replaced the speed limit sign on Wellington Way and 1,000 Acre Road, replaced the sign on Warren Avenue, that was knocked down, cleaned out the storm box from Old Mill and Buffer and Pike, checked the roadways for limbs, debris from the rain and windstorm, and cleaned intersections from the tar and chip.
Okay, I have one concern on a roadway that I've noticed that dead tree is still in, Ridge Valley Road, PennDOT issue. Go past Tower Road, on the right-hand side, and you'll see that dead tree standing in the ditch. I got a good feeling it's gonna fall down.
Oh, it's standing.
It's
They
standing.
got the one that was falling down.
Yeah, it's not falling down, this is standing dead. Okay, right-hand side. The one
Okay,
towards the
I'll let
church.
PennDOT know.
Thank you. Any other questions for Greg on the public works?
Yeah, Craig, did you get in contact with PennDOT again about those tires on 309 ramp, northbound ramp?
Not since the day you and I talked 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I sent them an email. I haven't heard back from them. I can email them again.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yep.
The next item is, well, we did that.
We took care of that.
That took care of that. Next item is the Board of Supervisors met with the fire panel, and they discussed a Knox box ordinance. You have a copy of Sellersville's ordinance. What a Knox box does is, and for any new business, they put a box by the door. And if I'm misspeaking, you can help me back there. And what happens is if there's an emergency, the police have a key, the fire companies have a key, and it's separate keys, and they know who goes into the Knox box. And if there's an emergency for some fire inside the business, they can go in and unlock the Knox box. The key to the business will be in there, and then they can unlock the door. If an alarm's going off or there's something going off, then the fire company doesn't have to break a window, doesn't have to break a door, and we'll be able to get in. So all controlled with data, they know who goes into the Knox box, and only certain officers in the fire department and the police department that have keys.
This can also be very helpful to someone who's infirmed at home or something, and they work all day, and if the police need to get in there, or the fire department needs to get in that house, and that person can't get out, this can be very helpful to those people also. So, Jerry, I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Am I correct, this ordinance, the ordinance currently only applies to commercial business?
Well, what you have before you is seller's bills.
Right.
What I would be looking for tonight is authorization for Mary to draft one for how the board sees fit, whether you see it for all new businesses or if you see it for all new existing businesses, that would be up to the determination of the
Does
board.
the seller go have a mandatory for commercial business?
I don't think it's anything.
I thought it was.
They have it mandatory for new businesses.
I think it's mandatory for new businesses, I don't, but let me look. Commercial described shall be complied with 6 months.
But I'll tell you, for a cost of a couple $100, which is all it is, you put this on your business and you can kind of rest easy at night, knowing that if something happens in your building, the fire department and the police department can get in there. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Well, we discussed that if they have to break a door down, it's, you're looking at a lot more than a couple $100 to
Yeah.
break the door.
It's all businesses that have an automated fire alarm system.
Yes.
All new businesses, all businesses that expand, and all existing businesses that have,
An automated fire alarm system.
okay. What are you looking at?
Not twice required, page 2.
Page 2 at the bottom. 1, all new commercial buildings. 2, all existing commercial buildings undergoing the construction of improvements that require land development. All existing commercial buildings equipped with an automated fire service. That's not. That's not the same thing.
That's what it says.
I would like to make a motion.
I am
to-
glad we take
Carol.
these because there will be a discussion about this tomorrow.
I got all the faces he made.
Mrs. Strobel, you have a question?
Yes, Carol Strobel, Rockhill. We have a push button to get into our house. Should we notify the police of those numbers, just in case anything like that happens?
That's only if you want to participate. You're a private resident, you don't really have to.
Oh,
It's up to you.
But you can.
You can if you want to.
You could even put your code, in the box, it's just a box that you put your key in.
Oh, okay.
So you
we
put your
would-
code in there, just say, punch
It's
this.
not like we would call the police and give them the numbers and
No.
then keep it on file.
No.
Okay.
They have
We
a
have to get
locked
a
box, they have a locked box in their vehicle that's bolted down.
Mhm.
And in that box is the key to it's the master key for all the knock boxes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and every person, there's usually three in the fire department, I think, and 3 in the police department that have access, they all have their own codes, they know exactly who's opening the box.
Okay, so it's only for, we have to purchase the boxes.
You have to purchase the box, and I think they were a couple $100, 300
So
maybe,
what's a window?
versus a window, right, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So, that's what, the end of the question.
Okay, so I would like to put a motion on the floor to authorize Mary to prepare a draft.
Yeah, I'd second that.
And second that? Okay. All those signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it.
Also a good idea for private homes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it is too,
You're right.
Ron. I think there's situations where, I mean, everybody doesn't want to, quote, let the government in, but, there's situations where I think there are residents who have a need to have somebody come in their house.
These are your neighbors.
And they're your neighbors, yeah.
Carol, I would suggest, if you feel that way, contact police, give Rod the information, and that way if something happens, they know they can get in your house, they know where to get in your house.
I believe you can buy them now, it's just now we want to put an ordinance in saying that.
John?
Yeah, I just have a quick question about the ordinance. Did I hear correctly that it's only if it has an automated fire alarm system, is that correct?
That's what the manager said.
That's what the manager.
What's the number 4? Number 4 on page
But there's
2.
1, 2, 3 in front of them.
Right, that was one of them.
Can I ask you, do you have a concern one way or another?
Well, I work where I live at,
Yeah.
Right.
And me personally, I know that it's good, but I'm not comfortable with it myself.
You don't feel you need it yourself?
Well, I don't, and you're like telling everyone, here's the key to my house in this box, or my shop, you follow me?
Mm-hmm.
and you could take a still gas saw, I could cut that box open in a second and get in there in 2 seconds. I know too much, I wouldn't do it, and I don't wanna do it, that's what
Okay.
I'm saying. That's just me personally,
Understand.
but, and I just didn't know how, where you classified a business, and as you know, I work from home. Following?
This wouldn't force somebody like that to do that.
I don't have an automated system, so I wanna make sure.
It doesn't have an automated system.
If you have anybody that expands their business, they
Listening?
have to do it.
Okay.
I would suggest we let Mary write up an ordinance that we can present at the next meeting. And
We'll
we
discuss
can
it.
hear if there's any dissension.
And I'd
How's
suggest
that?
also give technical
Is that okay?
illustration of what they are.
Could you
Yeah.
clarify where this box is? At one point I thought it was on the front door, and then somebody said something that made me think it's in the van, the police van or something.
The master key is in the police van. And that master key has a key that they open a box.
And where is that box?
That they open a box in their vehicle, okay?
Okay.
That is bolted down in the vehicle. And inside there is a master key. That master key lets them come to the residence or the business and unlock a box.
Okay, so the
which
box
has-
is at the,
Yes, bolted in
Business. Place
or
of
to the wall,
business.
can be built right into a wall. Yeah,
okay, I wasn't sure how that worked.
Yeah,
There's a box on the wall, but it doesn't have key,
correct,
so it's private.
yeah, right.
And what if you walk in and, I mean, quite frankly, the alarm tipped off, I mean, asking for a friend, of course, and the police come in and, if there's some kind of contraband or something like that, I mean, are you giving up? Have you given your permission for them to come in, or is it a forced access way because it's by law? And, I mean, I wouldn't mind if you came to my house, I don't know anything, that you're not able to see, but I'm just wondering, in the event that somebody did have a questionable situation and you've barged into their place of residence or their business.
If you're growing marijuana in the basement, they should get the box.
You're renting, I mean, if it's a.
No, not a rental.
It's a brand new marijuana farm.
We've already said that it would be, for a residence, it would be voluntary.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a business even, I mean,
Well,
you don't know people, I'm just curious, in that part of the law,
Yeah.
you have forced them to give you entry.
Sue, if you read Rod's report, they do between 300 and 400 business checks every year, every month.
I know, but I'm just, that's,
I can say
checking if
this.
the door is locked and walking in are two separate things.
Most municipalities I represent do require new businesses to install Knox boxes, and everybody seems very happy with the arrangement. I've
Okay.
never
Well,
seen,
most people are law abiding, I mean, I'm just, that was going through my head, is, what kind of entry is that? Is that entry with permission, or is that a forced entry because you've made it the law?
I'm not a criminal lawyer, I'm not even gonna try and pretend to answer that question. I would be nervous about it, because they would be there lawfully, I don't know.
Just
Police and
curious.
fire, that's a limited number of them that can do it, so it's pretty controlled. They go there for emergency purposes only.
I understand, but under what circumstances that entry?
Well, certainly, they could not go into your locked box and get the key out and go in because,
For no reason.
without a warrant for, if it was an emergency situation. So if you have a fire and they go in and there's, evidence of criminal activity, I don't think they would be prevented from using
Well, they could
that.
knock the door down in that situation anyway.
True,
Good point.
they almost have to, right?
Yes.
It sounds like, I don't understand this really well, but it sounds like we're talking about the benefits are for the business owner. Why, so I'm curious about why it would be a requirement. Like, what would be the township's interest in requiring this?
Township does, it's either police or fire company.
It's the fire companies, it's not the
Township has
township.
nothing to do with it.
Right,
It's a
so that's
benefit for the
why-
police or the fire
So
company
it's
to
better,
save,
it's better for them?
to save, yes, to save damaging the business property,
Premises,
part of the property.
I think
Whether it's a
a
door
lot
or
of
window or-
municipalities see it as a benefit to the business owner. It allows the police to get in and, like, if they see a break-in going on, or if they see a problem or a fire starts, I think it's seen as a benefit to the business to allow unfettered access to help the business. I don't think it's seen as a,
Yeah, I guess that's I'm questioning why it would be a requirement
Vera,
if it was for the business.
If I may, can I ask,
Yeah.
Jerry, would you comment on this? Jerry Gretzky is with the Telford Fire Department.
And Jerry, also, I'd like to know, is there an insurance advantage to people that put it in also?
I don't know if there's an insurance advantage. What you're referring to is every one of our, every piece of apparatus has a little box, and it has a blue light on top of it. And certain officers are coded to get into that. The key for the Knox box, which is located on the business, it's generally for business, located on the business wall, on the outer wall, allows us to go to that Knox box and open it, get the key to go in. When we get there, you gotta realize we're 100% volunteer. When we get called to an alarm, we could stand there for an hour, hour and a half, waiting for somebody to come to let us in. If we get called to an alarm, we do a 360 of the building. If we don't have any reason to believe that there's a fire in there, we're taking a risk if we break in, and we're taking a risk if we don't. So we're caught between two bad places. So the Knox box is, again, primarily business, and it's primarily a time saver for the volunteers, and for the business owners, it saves them the time of getting out there. But the security, the code in the trucks, in the apparatus, there's one key in each box, and that blue light won't go out until the key's put back in and the door is shut. As far as the Knox box on the wall, I don't know how easy they are to get into, I really don't, but they're a big advantage to us.
Isn't the reason is because they have an automated fire system? That's why you have the ordinance, it's because the alarm can go off any time. It's not the owner calling the fire department.
Right.
That's what he's referring to as far
But
as
that's
saving.
why you have the ordinance.
A lot of times the fire companies are standing there for an hour, hour and a half till somebody
Right.
comes to shut the alarm off.
Right.
And
But
they're
it,
volunteers.
but it's only businesses that have that automated system.
That's not true.
That's what the ordinance in Sellersville was.
Jerry, you have a comment on that?
Again, we get dispatched for somebody will come by and they'll see smoke coming out from a steam vent or something like that. It's not necessarily always a monitoring system.
Okay.
Call it. So a passerby would call and report they saw smoke.
And it could have been a dryer vent or something like that when it's cold out.
And it's the same thing. So 2 o'clock in the morning, you're standing there for an hour, hour and a half, and you can't get in. You know, we know what it is possibly, but we can't let it go until we get, authorization.
Okay. All right.
But the ordinance you read from Sellersville was for only businesses that had automated systems. Is that correct?
that's what Greg said.
No, I said it was one of the four. One of the four.
Oh.
We gotta get these two looking at the same screen.
I think,
So we will do that. We'll get something prepared for next month.
yes, I will.
Okay.
Greg and I will work it out.
There's a lot of stuff online about these. If anybody wants to read up on it before our next meeting, you could probably check with Jerry or Greg and find out what some information is, if you're concerned about it or if you want to know more about it.
Yeah, and what will happen is Mary will draft an ordinance, and then once it's ordered, the board will look at it, and then it will go up for advertisement. Then we'll post it up on our website, and then everyone will have a chance to look at it too.
Okay. Is that it?
No, there's one more thing, the 2018 budget.
Oh, right.
Per the regulation, you have to advertise it for 30 days before you adopt it. So all I'm looking for tonight is authorization to advertise it.
Okay.
There's a couple key points. Reduction of police costs of approximately $82,000. Well, we're going to do codification, $21,000 over two years, which is a big deal. And the road repair budget will be $242,000, and we're projecting revenues to be down about $2,000. It's a bare bones, that's all that we have to budget. But once you authorize that, I can post it to the website. You can take public comment at your December meeting.
So right now, we have no increase in taxes because of the budget.
Yeah, there's no proposed.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that.
Okay, while it's still fresh, John, take a motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion been seconded. All those signify by saying aye. Aye, you may advertise.
All right. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, old business, anybody? We covered a couple old businesses already. New business?
I have none.
None.
I have none.
All right, public comment, please state your name and address. Abby?
Amy Shermer, 1805 Ridge Road. I just want to tell you that I left you a municipal report from the Pennridge, from your Pennridge Community Center, which is West Rockhill Senior Center. And also I have a copy of the budget in there as well. And you will see how much we have to depend on the municipalities to help us pay the utilities and the mortgages against the property. If you have any questions, you can get back to me. If you look at it, just call me. I'll be glad to answer them or to come up with an answer. But we, as you know, the salaries of both the manager, part-time manager, and part-time assistant manager are paid through the county. But we have to raise all the rest of the money ourselves, which a lot of people think it all comes from the county to pay for the whole thing, and that's just not so.
We will review it.
Okay.
And we will get back to, we'll have some kind of discussion next month, okay?
Okay, very good, thank you.
You got it. All right. Go ahead, I'll let you go first, Bob.
Thank you. Robert Linden, Reagan Drive.
Okay.
Tonight, Mr. Miller charged me with sending out links to the YouTube videos, which I post on YouTube, of all the meetings, specifically insinuating that I'm trying to slur him somehow. And I challenge him to show me all these links I sent out. I think you will find that I didn't send out links. You need to review wherever you think you saw those.
On BuzzFeed.
See, I didn't post anything on BuzzFeed.
I thought that's where you had said yours came from.
No. BuzzFeed? No, my links, my videos that I take of this meeting and of the Upper Bucks Tech School are posted on Pennridge.buzz, which is a YouTube channel.
That's where it was.
And then you said I sent out links.
I clicked on it, and it came up.
But where did you get the link?
It was right under another version of your entire, and it was your video right from there.
But my videos get posted automatically by YouTube.
Bob, if I owe you an apology, I'll give you an apology. I want to work through it with you.
Okay, I want to work through it with you too, because I did not do anything to intentionally slur you or your wife. If somebody copied my links and sent them out, I can't control that.
I'll work with you on that, Bob.
Okay.
Right now,
Look it up.
I have an apology.
Look it up. Yes, Mr.
Paul-
Raisner.
Yeah, Paul Raisner, 1402 Lawn Avenue. Just a comment on your agenda. Tonight, there must have been 12 interruptions. I call them interruptions. I mean, you have on here public comments before we start. The gentleman did a nice presentation, and the lady, they were on the docket. We had others that weren't. And it just seems like it's endless. We get lost.
You are right.
There's no rhyme or reason what's happening here.
I left some
I know
people
emotions
speak.
are high with these quarry people, but that's no reason not to run a parliamentary meeting, period. And my last statement is, I still reject the purchase of this open space with that body of water, to me, it's a liability, and I've written it down, I've posted it on my own personal notes. When something happens, you three gentlemen are going to be called upon. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay.
Frank Schimmer, 1030 Allentown Road. I believe we have an ordinance on the books that there are not to be electronic advertising signs in the township, on township roads. Okay? But that does not stop those signs from going on 309 within the township on a PennDOT road.
I don't know that.
Yeah, it does.
You can't put them on a PennDOT road.
First-
Township ordinance is a township ordinance, am I correct?
PennDOT doesn't allow signs within its right-of-way, so if anybody wanted to put up a sign that was visible from 309, they'd have to put it on private property, and that is subject to the township ordinances. Not saying that the PennDOT right-of-way isn't subject to township ordinances, it is, but I was just giving you a little bit more of an explanation.
Okay, so Allentown and Ridge Valley Road would not have the possibility of having an electronic billboard sign being put up there.
A new electronic, or is there one now that you're complaining
No,
about?
no.
Okay.
But
So
if
you're
you get-
saying we're protected? Oh, you're talking about that monstrosity in Clayton.
Yes. Has everybody seen that monstrosity? If you haven't, or Quakertown. Yeah, I ride by it every day, and we couldn't figure out what it was when it was going up, but now it's, I guess it's just about finished. And it is one of the worst things that I've ever seen.
It was in full operation this morning at 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Advertising.
Right.
Dangerous distraction.
And I don't know who the gentleman is or the lady that has already got a petition going with about 3,000 or 4,000 names to have it taken down. But it is something, you know, there are some of them that are not bad looking, but this is the most atrocious sign I've ever seen.
They're not allowed in West Rockhill.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that.
Thanks, Frank.
Karina Rilling, 217 Thousand Acre Road. We have 318 signatures we've collected opposing the possible zoning change. The other thing, when we're talking about in-kind contributions by an entity, Vera and I were talking that maybe there should be a policy in the, formulated by the township where they are somehow, that they just don't disappear. That if $52,000 is given for a parking lot, that the giver can be anonymous, but the $52,000 should be acknowledged. So
It's on file in Sellersville, where all our bookkeeping is kept.
it is?
Yes.
Okay. But it's not on file here, and
That's,
it's a joint body, right? Anyway, that's something maybe you could consider, even that walkway in the park, you know, that wasn't on the books.
I will inform you though too, that the walkway in the park originally and the parking lot was paved by H&K for free to the township. And that wasn't on the books either. The entire walkway around the entire park.
Right.
And the parking lots across the street.
Right.
And I don't recall the exact year that was done, but it was done quite a long time ago.
Well, maybe there should be something where everything
We should be
is
documenting.
documented.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
So, anyway.
22 years ago.
22 years.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, Corinna, I'm sorry. Corinna, it is on file here. As soon as I found out the amount, I sent a note to Greg with the 52,000, so he could record it also.
Oh, I see, okay. But it wasn't,
Not initially, no. Sellersville went out to get the amount, and it took a while to get that. It was not on, you're right.
Yes, sir.
Randy Clemens, 1000 Acre Road. I just would like to make a couple of comments and facts for the toilet gate situation that's been going on here in the township. I'm not really sure why anyone would be going to a hearing about a toilet to listen to Ms. Banis Clemens speak when the issue was actually, the citation was in my name only. So I don't know why you would even think Megan would be speaking at that citation. It was between the township and actually me only. And also, if you want to go watch Megan talk about politics, the wonderful people up here, they do a great job of recording all the school board meetings. I'd encourage you to go to a school board meeting if you're interested in that. Or you can go on their YouTube channels and watch all the information. It's all there for you to watch all day, all night if you want. I don't really think that would be the appropriate situation to watch about a toilet that has nothing to do with Pennridge School.
That's not really your choice to make.
Well, that's my opinion,
Thank
and
you.
it's also my public comment. I didn't interrupt you.
Fine.
I'd also like to say that I also filed a right to know request to find out about the letters that were sent out on March 16th. And if we want to talk about political game playing, my right to know request was not fulfilled within the 7 days. I don't know if yours was, but mine was delayed until an extension to review. And as soon as the request hearing was over, magically, hey, by the way, all your information is available to the township, you can go review it. So I'm not sure, that's a little weird, I don't really know why that had to happen. I wanted to review information for my request and my hearing myself. I'm not sure if you experienced that, but I mean, it's really a shame that we have to be sitting here still talking about this after another week when, I mean, we've done nothing wrong. I have no record, I volunteer in the community, and for a toilet being out at the end of our road, to have a citizen fined for $800 and some is ridiculous in my opinion. And it's also wasting taxpayers' money to be having Mr. Lippincott write the citation, go to a hearing, having the attorney review right to know requests and other information. I think that we can spend our time and our money here in the township in a lot better ways than trying to do something like that. In addition, the policy should be rewritten if we want to enforce it that way, because it does specifically say 24 hours the trash can be not put out. And it also says that within 24 hours of your collection time, the waste containers must be removed. It says nothing about trash, it says nothing about a toilet or anything like that. So if you would like to enforce it the way that the citation was writ, I think the policy needs some updating. That's all I have.
Thanks for your comment. Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment into executive session.
So moved.
Motion been made, second. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you all for coming, and have a great Thanksgiving if we don't see you.